Most of us want to run faster, and in order to do that, we spend several hours training. And we also measure various metrics such as our pace, our distance ran, our heart rate. But how about ground contact time? Yep, that's what we're looking at today. GCT, ground contact time, is measuring the time from when the first part of your foot actually makes contact with the ground to when the last part of your foot leaves the ground. And for normal runners, it tends to be just under 300 milliseconds. But for faster runners, it's seen around 175 to 200 milliseconds. And it doesn't really matter where you are right now, but there is evidence to show that reducing that ground contact time is going to actually help with your overall running performance. So how do we measure it? Why is it important, and what can we do to improve it? Well, measuring it manually is a little bit tricky. But luckily for us, the technology to measure ground contact time has actually become relatively affordable. You'll find that most top-end sports watches will automatically measure it when you're on run setting. Some of them will require you having a foot pod, or sometimes even heart rate monitor straps have a motion sensor built in that can measure that ground contact time. So then that leads us on to, why is it important? Simply put, when your foot is on the ground, you're not moving forwards. You're only moving forwards when you're airborne. So the more time you're spending in the air, the less time on the ground. In theory, the faster you're going to be moving. But it's not just that we need to look at when we can measure ground contact time, because it can also give us an indication to your efficiency. Research has also shown that the shorter the contact time, the less energy required. So that's indicating you'd be a more efficient runner with a shorter ground contact time. And then it can also give an indication to any potential misbalances or imbalances between your right and your left foot, as you can compare the time that each foot is spending on the ground, which could give you an idea if you're predisposed to any injuries. So it turns out that a fairly simple metric can actually give you a huge amount of information about your running stride. There are other metrics to consider, such as vertical oscillation, stride length and cadence. And if you put them all together, you really will see the complete picture. But ground contact time is a great area to focus on to hopefully see some improvement in your running. That is a lot of information, and I could go on, but it's enough for now. And what better way to learn about something new than go out and try it? So it's probably time to go and put a watch on and head out for a run. All right, so I've got my watch on and it's running, and now I'm just going to jog for 10 minutes, and I'm not going to be thinking about my running at all. Well, I'm chatting to you guys to start with, but after this 10 minutes, I'm then going to run 10 minutes at tempo. Then I'm going to have a little bit of a rest, come back to easy jog. Then I'm going to do 1 minute as fast as I can, and then we'll correlate all of those results. Well, during my warm-up, I spent 10 minutes running at around 5 minutes per kilometre pace, and it looks like my contact time was an average of 260 milliseconds. Just to confirm this, when I ran my all-out 1 minute effort, my contact time decreased even further to 170 milliseconds. That's 90 milliseconds quicker than in the warm-up. And then at the end, I was running the same pace as I was in the warm-up, but obviously a little bit more tired, and the ground contact time reflects this, as at an average of 280 milliseconds, it was roughly 20 milliseconds longer than when I was running at the start. And then we talked about the imbalance between each leg earlier on, and I'm pleased to say that mine are fairly balanced, notably more balanced for the easy warm-up bit, and there was a little bit of discrepancy as I got to the faster work. I don't think it comes as any surprise that as my speed increased, my foot contact time decreased. And that doesn't really tell us anything, because that would be the same for everybody. So we need to be able to understand the mechanics and what those limiting factors are so we can address them and improve our ground contact time. Ground contact time is determined by three main factors. Your ability to apply force downwards to the ground quickly, which is power. Then you've got your leg stiffness, so the amount of energy return you can get from the ground. And finally, it's the biomechanics. So a heel striker, for example, will have a longer ground contact time than someone who runs mid or forefoot. We don't want you guys to get too bogged down on focusing purely on the ground contact time. Instead, we've got a couple of suggestions that you could try, which will help improve it overall. So hill sprints are great because they're going to address the aspect of power. So if you can find a fairly steep hill of about 50 meters in length, and then focus on trying to do 8 lots of really good form, but running fast, so you've got the resistance of gravity, and then walk or just do a light jog back down. And then you could try to add in some plyometrics. Plyometrics have been proven, along with lifting heavy weights, to actually work on your leg stiffness. And if you're going to do some heavy weights, make sure you've got the correct technique and you build into it. But if you want to try some plyometrics, again, you want to be thoroughly warmed up, but it's basically doing explosive actions. And you can do this as double leg or single leg using boxes. You might see people in the gym experimenting with this. But if you want to do it simply just outside or wherever you do your normal running, you can incorporate some hopping. So again, I would probably put it in after you've done a very good warm-up, and just start off by doing 20-meter stretch of hopping and trying to think about spending as little time on the ground as you can. So do 20 meters on one leg, 20 meters back on the other, have a bit of a rest, and try and repeat it 4 times. And you can look to increase that in distance or repetitions, or move it onto a variety using a box. So practicing hopping on one leg up onto a box is much harder than it looks, trust me. And then you could even go jumping off the box, so just stepping off and trying to jump up as soon as you hit the ground, so you're really focusing on touching and leaving the ground as quickly as possible. As we've touched on, ground contact time is just one of many metrics when it comes to running, and you can't segregate one. They all influence each other, but hopefully it's given you some ideas on another area of your running you can focus on, and just another metric that's quite interesting. If you have enjoyed this insight, give this video a like. Remember, you can find us on our social media channels and follow us there as well, and you can also subscribe here on YouTube.